In my previous videos on adult actresses, I focused on more recent women in the space that gained notoriety fairly quickly in the early 20s. But there is one massively relevant name in X-rated entertainment that's been in the scene since 2003, Angela White. The reason she is such an anomaly is because unlike most performers that see a massive boost in relevance before quitting, having a mental breakdown, or simply not attracting as large of an audience as the years roll by, she has only become more and more popular over the past 2 decades. So what has allowed this one woman to only grow in relevance? Well, unlike most other stars that have one big mainstream story that blew them up, Angela has had several key events keep her name in the public consciousness. From leaving high school to film in America, rupturing her appendix after an intense scene, winning the most awards as a female performer in history, and working 7 days a week for years on end, after well over 100 hours of research, it becomes clear why she has so much staying power. So today, I'll tell her story. But before we go any further in today's video, for some reason I'm feeling like I'm being tracked, which is why I need my sponsor, private internet access. Browsing the internet with an unencrypted connection is like having sex without a condom. You're unprotected. Whenever you're browsing online on an unprotected device such as your phone, computer, tablet, etc., your device can be transmitting a great amount of information out into the open. A virtual private network, or VPN for short, is an app that hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way it shields your digital life from the eyes of those that are looking to exploit your private information. Another great use case for private internet access for me personally is getting access to other countries' streaming catalogs that you don't get on Netflix America. Switching over to an Italian IP, I was able to watch 8 1/2 immediately. I also use private internet access because of how transparent they are with their policies, evident by the fact that they have over 30 million downloads. They allow you to protect an unlimited amount of devices. It was irritating using some of the competitors that try to upcharge you if you try to use their service too much. And by clicking the link in the description down below, you can currently get 83% off private internet access. That's 83% off, plus 4 months free, just $2.03 a month. So with that deal, I suggest you try it out today. Angela White was born on March 4th, 1985 in Sydney, Australia. Her mother was a photographer and nothing is known about her father besides the fact that Angela doesn't like to talk about him.
Your father was there?
Yeah.
What's his deal?
I mean, what do you mean? What's his deal?
It's like he's just what's up with him?
Beyond knowing she has a sister as well, Miss White has managed to not overshare family information. While she doesn't talk about her early life much, we know she did grow up in some sort of Christian household. And while she no longer believes in God, the adult star claims religion didn't stunt her interest in sexuality.
See, I was doing like sexual self-pleasuring things before I knew what masturbation was. Because I think about what I did with my friends when we were kids and like humping like the dolls and things like that.
Growing up shy and introverted, the Australian teen would spend time at the school library obsessing over a book she found with naked bodies. In fact, she has referenced this piece of literature in nearly every interview she's ever done.
I was that weird kid at school in the back of the library reading all the sex books. I was that kid in the back of the library reading Where Did We Come From? Even as a kid, I was like the kid in the library, like looking at all the cartoon illustrations of intercourse and where babies come from and all of that. I was that weird kid in the back of the library reading all the reproduction books.
You're correcting the teacher on sex ed day.
Her anecdote is so well known that YouTuber Jimmy Zhang actually bought Angela a copy, giving her it at an adult convention.
Dude, this is the book that I used to be the weird kid in the back of the library reading this f***ing book.
This book seems to have left a permanent impact on Angela, or at least she finds it a good origin story to share on podcasts. And her curiosity about sexuality continued when observing her female family members who all had large chests.
Everyone in my family, both my grandmothers have big tits, so it's like both sides of the family, big titties.
The young girl worried that she would never gain her family's genetics, but everything changed once she turned 14.
At 14, I was a double D. So, and then they just slowly grew after that.
Following this transformation, Angela wanted to become sexually active but was shy. Early on, she realized that the only way to have sex was to step out of her comfort zone. Using her new body, she began to experience male attention for the first time.
This older guy, snuck into the underage social, which now when I look back,
Can't do that.
when I look
Can't
back,
do that.
well, he did do that.
He
But
showed
I was into
bikini
older
bottom
men.
IDs. Like, I belong here. That guy hopefully is in jail.
This older man impressed Angela with his panel van because it had a bed in the back. He then took the teen to the beach where she performed oral for the first time. This opened up a new world.
It was so much fun for me because I was like, this is a way for me to be sexual, but I can still protect my precious virginity, you know?
Despite having committed nearly every other sexual act, Angela wasn't ready to lose her virginity because she wanted it to be special. When she was still 14, the young woman fell in love with a boy. They had been dating for 2 months, which she deemed a long-term relationship, so it was time to take the next step. Her boyfriend came over to her house, high on weed, and they slept together. When the young teen told her mother, she was surprisingly happy to hear the news, rewarding the behavior.
Even before like that happened, she was like, you know, if you want to have sex, like let's talk, I'll give you some condoms, all that kind of stuff. And then when I lost my virginity, she gave me like a present, like a losing your virginity present. Yeah, she bought me some lingerie. Once I lost it, I felt relief because I'm like, oh, now I can anyone I want. Because like I made the first time special. So now it doesn't matter.
However, this sexual explosion would have disastrous implications as the teenager's peers were not as supportive as her mother. You see, around this time, Angela discovered that she wasn't just attracted to boys.
How it first started happening was that I'd be at friends' houses that had older brothers, and the older brothers would kind of like...
It's like truth or dare, like,
exactly,
oh, but kiss her.
Spin the bottle, or like, if you kiss her, we'll give you some beers.
Although she was interested in trying different sexual experiences, others passed judgment. This was the 90s after all. Due to her bisexuality and sexcapades, peers would harass Angela in a very interesting Australian way.
And so I was criticized a lot. I was criticized for sleeping with a lot of guys, and I was called a slut. And then when I slept with women, I was teased as a lesbian, or in Australia, the slang is lemon. So I had lemons thrown at me.
This traumatized the teen who didn't understand why the kids were abusing her for sleeping around. In her mind, sex should be celebrated and explored with as many people as possible. This level of bullying isolated young Angie, who didn't feel like she fit in with her friends that only had one boyfriend. This is when she stumbled upon a sexy magazine that altered her life forever.
And there was this blonde woman laying there covered in lace and pearls, and she had this huge smile on her face, and she was looking directly down the lens, just like staring into your soul with this big smile on her face. And I was like, yes, I'm going to be happy in porn. Like, this is where I can be myself.
The woman on the cover was sleeping with many different people, and instead of being criticized, she was seemingly celebrated. At just 14, she decided to become an adult actress when legally viable, believing the industry to be full of like-minded people, where sexuality could be explored and rewarded. Following this, the soon-to-be adult star did everything in her power to research her career path for the next 4 years. However, in the meantime, she continued to suffer the abuse of her classmates, with the interactions growing ever more violent.
And this one girl just kept on like harassing me about it. And she just came up to me. She's like, so what are you? Are you a fucking lesbian? And I said, why are you interested? And I got smacked.
Since there were laws making her wait until she was 18, in the meantime, the young teen worked at a department store and a Whataburger, Burger King, where she would flirt with the customers, preparing for her role in adult movies.
What's your most fond memory of working at Burger King?
I worked the drive-thru, and the drive-thru was a really great way to flirt with customers.
I mean, you met a guy in Sexton at the drive-thru?
Yeah.
Where'd you do the sex?
In the car park.
What?
Yeah.
At last, the young woman became a legal consenting adult, and it was time to fulfill her dream of shooting adult movies. After researching a bit, she discovered that Australia was not the place to film, so the teen needed to go to America, the land of dreams. Having some reservations going across the globe without a job lined up, Miss White decided to reach out to a well-known company where the models seemed to enjoy their experience in the videos. Angela sent a handwritten letter along with naked pictures of herself taken by her friends to a company based in Miami, Florida, which, fun fact, was also the same site Mia Khalifa got her start. She didn't just select this company because it seemed professional, but because they loved women who were busty. The production house accepted her offer, wanting to fly the Aussie to Florida instantly. Despite still being in high school, Angela decided to go. The only problem was telling her mother. The two always had a close relationship, with the adult star referring to herself as Mummy's girl, but found that her mother wasn't exactly thrilled with the thought of her daughter traveling to shoot adult content all alone. This didn't stop Angela, as she already made up her mind.
And I told my mum, I just turned 18, and I could have told her in a way that was a lot softer, but I was like just so punk rock. I just was like, I didn't want to hear anyone's opinion about it.
Landing in Miami in 2003, she took 2 weeks off from school, finding the work environment everything she could have dreamed of. When asked what moniker she was going to work under, the teenager decided on using her actual legal name, explaining that this was a deliberate political move to show that she wasn't ashamed of sex work. Additionally, being on set gave Angela immense confidence, since curvier women weren't the beauty standard at the time in much of the controlled adult space where physical media still reigned supreme.
And I was finally in front of a photographer's lens and naked and being praised for all of the curves and all of the womanliness that I possess that isn't necessarily accepted by all facets of society.
The company had a long discussion with the model about what sort of content she wanted to start off with. Despite having slept with around 30 different men by this point, Angela agreed to start off slow, doing solo shoots and then eventually filming with women. The teen then flew back to Australia, and her first adult work was distributed soon after. Her teachers then discovered what she had been up to on her 2-week trip, leading to an odd dynamic.
Yes, I couldn't even imagine if a teacher saw a magazine that you were in, and then you walk into class, and he's like, "Oh God, my woman crush Wednesday, Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, some kind of pretty inappropriate things. I was like smoking cigarettes with one of my teachers in his car. Like, how inappropriate was that?
Hold on.
But
What the hell is going on down in Australia? Finally graduating, she continued to explore the adult space, but kept filming only with women. She gained her first cover of a magazine in 2007 when she was voted most voluptuous model. And with this new notoriety, many adult directors wanted her to sleep with men on camera. Angela turned down the offers to shoot with male talent at first, but continued to enjoy being with women exclusively. It was around this time she decided to explore the world of stripping, but it wasn't exactly to her liking.
I'm not good at hustling in that. I'm not good at hustling people.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very hard worker, but that interaction where you've got to try and get money from people, like it's much easier in porn. I'm just like,
yeah.
And the money comes.
While stripping didn't work out, Angela did love to webcam. There she would put on a show for her viewers and then get them to pay extra to speak to her privately. This is when she met a man who interested her. The two had great conversations and eventually met up and began to see each other, developing a situationship. This relationship didn't last, but coincidentally, his identical twin brother was also a viewer of Angela's show, and she met up with Twin 2 later on. The twins knew about the situation, but refused to participate in Angela's next request.
So, but once I started kind of dating or whatever you want to call it, Twin 1, Twin 2 and I didn't do anything, even though I did suggest once maybe we should like,
Have a threesome?
yes,
But
didn't happen.
Webcamming allowed the adult actress to explore her body's capabilities in a safe way, and this was when she realized that maybe sleeping with men on camera wouldn't be so bad after all.
I mean, obviously I was in my bedroom at home doing this webcam show, so it was a very safe, relaxing environment. I was like, wow, my can open up. And that's the moment that I was like, with my hand on my I was like, I can take size in my
But Angela didn't jump right into filming with men because she learned something about the adult industry that broke her trust. You see, getting into the scene at 18 meant that she didn't fully comprehend that these film companies were run by big corporations and functioned as such. For the first 4 years of her career, the young woman was under the impression that those who produced adult videos did so solely to explore their sexuality, and not for money. When talking to another adult star, she realized that her pay was significantly lower than the other actresses. This shocked Angela, who was disgusted by the idea that women were paid different sums based on their value to the production house. Outraged, she went to the company and asked to be paid more, which they did, but it forever left a bad taste in her mouth, and the model realized that they were not looking out for her best interests. After this experience, Angela decided to attend Melbourne University in 2007, while still shooting lesbian content on the side. Initially, she wanted to study French, but became fascinated about conversations around sexuality, and ended up majoring in gender studies. During her education, Angela had professors who identified as anti-porn feminists, and she kept her adult work a secret, not wanting to be treated differently. Although she didn't agree with their arguments, she found listening to them to be beneficial.
I mean, I did study under Sheila Jeffries, who is an anti-sex work feminist, and I wanted to hear her arguments without anyone kind of making an assumption that I was going to disagree or agree. Like, I just wanted to hear what she had to say, and I wanted to understand her arguments with an open mind.
Angela would graduate with honors in 2010 at 25 years of age. Not only had she earned a degree, but had also become a respected voice in topics of sexuality and the adult space. Miss White wrote a thesis called The Porn Performer, which ended up being published in 2017 in a book called The Routledge Companion to Media, Sex and Sexuality. I actually got a hold of and read Miss White's work, which was incredibly hard to find, as it was out of print with the hardcover selling used on Amazon for $300. Luckily, some coomer cared enough to dig up the work and post her section of the book in a forum about the actress for free. In it, the adult star wrote about 6 sex workers. She had them write personal narratives about how they would describe their profession. These women listed all positive attributes, such as confidence, money, and exploring their sexuality and fantasies in a safe way. Angela argues here that sexual pleasure shouldn't have a label attached to it, such as being gay or straight. She claimed that the patriarchy resented the sex industry because men are used to getting sex for free, and argued that the mainstream media had one-sided views on adult content. Simply put, her thesis surmises that if bad things in the industry are true, then good things also have to be true as well. Her growing popularity as an adult star, along with her now academic credentials, led to a new proposition out of left field.
So when you ran for office, explain to me how this went and what motivated that.
Okay, so I was asked by the Australian Sex Party, which
Right.
is a legitimate political party in Australia. They've actually changed their name now. I can't remember to
So
what
for the
the-
record, we have 2 parties. And you guys have so many parties that you can just have the sex party.
Yeah.
The reason for running involved her opposing candidate Kathleen Maltzan. Kathleen is an academic, author, and anti-sex work activist. She intended to criminalize the buying of sex services. The Australian Sex Party was furious and reached out to Angela, feeling that if Maltzan won, it would lead to more dangerous conditions for sex workers. The young woman agreed that this was disturbing, especially since the Green Party, which Kathleen was running under, was notorious for being very liberal in the past. Accepting the role, Angela didn't win, but she did accomplish her goal.
And my job wasn't to win the seat. My job was to draw attention to the fact that this was one of her policies.
With this experience under her belt, as well as graduating university, the now 26-year-old finally decided to shoot with men in 2011, winning Score Magazine's Performer of the Year.
The way I've made my decisions, I've got this like yeah mentality. It's like my yeah principle, right? So if I think about something and my answer isn't yeah, then I don't do it.
In 2013, she filmed an X-rated scene with a woman named Zara Stardust. Miss Stardust had also run for the Australian Sex Party, and it became the first ever adult scene with 2 political candidates. Her shoots continued to be successful, and directors wanted to book the actress for more hardcore performances, but Angela had reservations about some directors' visions.
So I absolutely am grateful for all those experiences. I realized that if I wanted to control all the minute details, that I was going to have to shoot my own porn.
Remembering that the industry was a business and didn't have her best interest at heart, she came up with a way she could film rougher scenes in a more comfortable manner. She needed to create her own production company in order to bring her visions to life. This would mean the model would take on the role of performer, director, and editor. Using all of her saved-up webcamming money, Angie launched her very own website where she shot intense scenes on her own terms. Angela understood that if the adult content was a business, then she needed to become a businesswoman. Through this, she gained a loyal fan base and began regularly traveling to Los Angeles to film content. It was on one of these trips when disaster struck. Angela agreed to film with a male adult actor named Kieran Lee. The two shot an extremely hardcore scene for over an hour. After the long day of work, Angela left and went home when she began experiencing severe stomach pain. It became so unbearable that she went to the hospital, discovering her appendix was about to burst and she needed to undergo emergency surgery.
Her appendix burst in the scene. Oh my God. So she could have killed her.
Later on, though, Angela would come out with a different side of the story.
So appendix did not burst.
Appendix did not burst.
Appendicitis was a thing.
Appendicitis was true.
And it was caused by the insertion from Kieran Lee.
There's no medical evidence to suggest that he was the cause of that.
But Angela looks on the bright side of the traumatic situation, because as she puts it, there was now more room in her body to accommodate Kieran Lee. This wouldn't be the last mishap between Kieran and Angela, as in another one of their shoots, she was performing oral when her jaw locked. As it turns out, the adult star suffers from something called TMD, aka lockjaw. The disorder randomly acted up in this unfortunate moment, resulting in her biting down on the man's sensitive areas.
She's got lockjaw.
Oh, like not on purpose?
No. And just bit my and I was like,
oh my God.
And she's literally froze, looked up at me, and just, I'm so sorry.
Despite this trauma, the two still finished the shoot, and afterwards could call themselves even. Though there seemed to be more risks in shooting boy-girl content, Angela began to see an increase in her viewership as she performed more and more hardcore content. Even though she wanted to start pursuing her PhD, the adult star had to put this on hold due to a hectic schedule. In October of this same year, she signed a distribution deal to release DVDs, and then was molded by Fleshlight, becoming the first Australian to pen a deal with the toy company. She then appeared on a weird Australian comedy show called Fat Pizza. From what I can tell, the plotline seems to follow a man who owned a pizza shop and somehow landed an extremely attractive girlfriend named Ruby, played by Angela White.
I'm Ruby.
Bye-bye.
I'm Junior. Are you here for a car wash?
With the help of Ruby, the pizza guy is able to grow his business, only to find he's the last to find out that his girlfriend is a retired adult actress.
I visited all the websites where your work can be viewed at no charge.
Leave her alone! She's with me! What's going on?
After coming to terms with this revelation, he runs into trouble with his mother, who doesn't approve of Ruby.
And where's the Bobo? Bobo!
Whether adult or more mainstream gigs like these, Angela had done all of the deals on her own without the help of a manager. Australia was still her primary residence as well. But Miss White realized that in order to grow her empire to the next level, she needed to be located in the heart of adult entertainment. This is when in September of 2016, the 31-year-old moved to Los Angeles and signed with the famous Mark Spiegler. This allowed her to work with mainstream adult content companies, growing her brand. Spiegler was instantly impressed with Angela's work ethic.
Like Angela White, everybody wants to shoot Angela White.
Famous adult director and actor Rocco Siffredi, better known as the Italian Stallion, flew to Los Angeles from Italy for just one day in order to film with Miss White. Everyone wanted to work with the It Girl, and this new management made her feel like she could take on the world. In 2018, Angela made the mainstream news after releasing an emotionally intense scene with veteran male adult performer Manuel Ferreras. Even the New York Post published an article about the film, commenting on its emotional intimacy that adult content is often lacking. The two created an incredibly passionate shoot that lasted for 93 minutes with 0 cuts. Interestingly enough, what gained attention happened after the sex. It was at the end where Angela broke down crying when they were done. The two lay together and talked about the scene as the camera kept on rolling for an additional 17 minutes.
The sex was so intimate and so incredible and so real. Like, I just had this release. I just was crying.
When the AVN Awards rolled around, everyone seemed to know that Angela was going to win the Best Boy-Girl Scene, but what they didn't expect was that she would be walking away with a total of 14 awards, including Best Female Performer of the Year. Not only that, but she was also inducted into the AVN Hall of Fame. Interestingly enough, out of all these accolades, her proudest achievement wasn't what you would expect.
It's because I won Best Editing. I edited
my big movie, Angela Volume 3, and I won Best Editor. And it was just so validating to me because I missed that whole summer.
What needs to be understood is that over the years, Angela has worked tirelessly creating her own content without the help of outsiders. The adult star claims to work 7 days a week, shooting every other day and then editing her own content on days off. As to why she doesn't hire an editor, it's due to her need for control. Miss White claims that it is this level of dedication that has allowed her to be so successful.
I think you learn a lot through self-producing and directing. And for me, the biggest thing that made me a better performer was actually editing my own scenes.
After the 2018 award sweep, Angela would go on to win Female Performer of the Year in 2019 and 2020 as well, the first person to ever do so. This brings us to the spring of 2020, when the pandemic shut down the adult industry. It was then that the 35-year-old claimed that things truly took off monetarily.
It wasn't until OnlyFans that I really started to make big money. Like, I just did it because I loved it.
Raking in this level of cash, Angela felt strongly about keeping her OnlyFans content cheap.
For me, I always want to bring the best value to my fans, and I want to reach as many fans as possible. Like, I want people to see my work, so I want it to be affordable.
The adult star might be onto something, as she is considered one of the most watched and searched for adult stars of all time. And unlike all the other adult stars I talk about on this channel, she did this without being in any controversy. It's also interesting to point out, Angela doesn't fit into the traditional adult star category. Some could go so far as to say she even broke the mold. When she started in 2003, the most appealing female adult star archetype was seen as very skinny, bleached blonde hair, and fake bolted-on breasts. While Angela didn't check any of these boxes, she became a massive hit as online adult video democratized the body types users wanted to see, rather than producers and executives. In October of 2021, once the industry opened back up, the 36-year-old signed an exclusive contract with a top adult company, while still maintaining the right to shoot her own content and be selective to what scenes to be involved in. Around the same time, she visited Japan to film and was intrigued with their process of creating content. She shot several videos that involved her being immobile, which the adult actress enjoyed because she didn't have to work as hard.
Although they did some interesting things, like they put Q-tips in my.
Now being firmly rooted in Los Angeles, the woman began collaborating more through OnlyFans, as many performers live in the area. One of the most notable scenes was with Adam22 and Lena the Plug.
Remember when you ruined our threesome?
Oh my God, I was wondering how long you were going to wait before you brought it up. That's amazing.
Originally, the threesome was supposed to occur at an Airbnb, but Adam was so excited about the shoot, he posted a picture of the house on Twitter, which was recognized by a viewer.
Within like 5 minutes, my girl gets a call because I forget that I have almost 1 million Twitter followers. Sometimes that eludes me. And we get kicked out and we don't get to shoot the shot.
Angela shared this story during her interview on No Jumper, and Adam found it difficult to get the star to open up about deeper topics, as she simply shared only what she wanted.
You know, like I figured all this stuff out from like my friends at school and shit. It's like, I didn't, and porno magazines that we found in the woods, you know, it's like we could probably have done better in that regard.
Yeah.
Angela would later go on to plug talk with Adam and Lena and share a disturbing fan experience. While at an expo in Australia, an attractive French fan approached her. Initially, the two hit it off and later agreed to meet up. After going out to brunch, the man, who was supposedly both an artist and model, invited her to his room where they began to hook up. But Angela didn't expect what would happen next.
He shoves 4 straight into my no no just 4 and I'm like, whoa, no.
Things went from bad to even worse, as this man then proceeded to try to not use a condom, to which Angela refused. After locating protection, the two became intimate, but the man was only watching himself in the mirror, American Psycho style. Eventually, the adult actress had to put a stop to this horrible encounter as he crossed the final line.
And he picks up his phone, and I think he's changing the music. And then I look up, and I'm like, no, you're not about to, like, film me without consent.
If I was with Angela, I'd treat her right. Following the Frenchman incident, Miss White hasn't slept with a fan since, preferring to see other adult stars and people she meets naturally. However, these relationships don't seem to last long as she refuses to be in a monogamous relationship.
How often is Angela White in a relationship?
Well, my relationships are
Give us
complicated.
the relationship history, Angela.
Well, it's a very complicated history.
We got time.
I like to be in open relationships because I
Makes
like
sense.
exploring my sexuality, and also because of the work that I do. It just makes things easier. And I like variety.
Beyond this, Angela does not want to get married or have children, believing that one man could never satisfy her for long.
Already what I do for work, I'm already having sex, and then I need at least 2 boyfriends, and it's better for everyone. It's way better because one boyfriend isn't enough. I just end up, they cannot satisfy me. They're not enough.
As of 2025, Angela is now 40 years old, having the most AVN awards in history with over 64 wins. She continues to feel passionate about her work and doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. The model has done her best to steer clear of any drama and doesn't seem to do drugs or other destructive behaviors often seen by most other performers.
I'm really boring. Sex is my drug. Yeah,
you know.
I don't even drink alcohol.
Going along with this, Angela has aged gracefully and hasn't gotten any uncanny plastic surgeries. She has only one non-visible tattoo located on the back of her neck, which also sets her apart from most other performers. It's interesting to note that most of her shoots have her hair down to cover the writing which reads "Love Sucks." When asked what the tattoo means, she claims it has nothing to do with a specific partner, but rather that love often leads to heartache, though who knows if that's the full story. But I guess that too is part of the genius of Angela. She controls the narrative, doesn't overshare about her personal life, and lives in this business on her own terms, which prevents her from burnout or mental breakdown.
Is she the biggest in the world right now?
Yeah, I would say so.
Her and Riley, right?
I would say Angela, because
Angela.
Angela's still actively shooting.
Right.
But these guys will tell you, Angela, when she makes you feel like a god.
And if there was one that I've shot with that I would have to say is like the ultimate challenge every time I shoot with her, I always just feel like it's a whole new deal, Angela White.
That's not to say filming hasn't taken a toll though. With her non-stop schedule, Angela has suffered a few injuries over the years. Most notably, she has pain in her hips, jaw, and inner thighs from the strenuous positions. Over the years, Miss White has been asked if she would recommend others getting into the adult industry, with her advice being refreshingly honest.
I think that the industry is something that you have to want to get into on your own. Like, I don't recommend it. I think it's a great industry for people like us that are really highly sexual, that are extroverted, like to have people watch us, and then for other people, it's like, you know, better
Not
that they just
everyone's cup of
watch.
tea.
Yeah.
And I think that really sums up Angela compared to other stars that crash and burn. Unlike the women that I've covered in the past, where the root of their involvement in the adult industry comes from grooming, coercion, or lack of financial/mental stability, Angela truly just wants to be doing this.